Welcome back to Reps and Reflections podcast. This is the space where we slow life down long enough to reflect, reset, and rebuild. Where growth meets honesty, where healing meets accountability, where we do the reps that actually change lives. You know, I thought long and hard about this episode because today's episode is for anyone who has experienced heartbreak, rejection, loss, or even disappointment. It's the breakup that you didn't want, the person who walked away. A situation where you gave your best and it still wasn't enough. If that's you, if you can relate, I want you to know that you're not weak. You're human and you're not broken. Stay tuned.
Reps and reflection, reps and reflection, reps and reflection, reps and reflection.
Why does heartbreak hurt so much? Heartbreak doesn't just hurt emotionally. It impacts your nervous system, your identity, your sense of safety and belonging. Rejection Rejection actually activates the same part of the brain as physical pain. And I want you to think on that for a little bit. You can pinch yourself. It's the same thing. That's why it feels overwhelming. When you feel that tightness in your chest, the the feeling in your guts, right? Your thoughts just start racing. Why your confidence takes such a big hit. Because your brain interprets rejection as I'm not chosen, I'm not safe, and I don't belong, amongst other things. But that's not true at all because rejection is not a verdict, okay? It's not a verdict on your worth. It's actually information about alignment because sometimes the pain isn't about losing the person, it's actually about losing the future that you imagined with that person. We've all been there. We're all dreamers to some extent. Now let's talk about pain versus suffering, right? Well, pain is unavoidable, but suffering is optional. Pain is the loss, the ending, the disappointment, but that's not suffering. You see, suffering happens when you replay the story over and over in your head. It's just this loop of negative energy. It causes you to question your worth or attach your value to someone else's decision, you know? And and the healing starts when you stop asking yourself, what's wrong with me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That's where the journey begins. And when we talk about what heartbreak reveals, I've always looked at it like a mirror. I've always looked at heartbreak like a mirror, right? You see your reflection in that mirror. And if you look deep enough, it will reveal where you overgave, where you ignored red flags, where you abandoned your own needs, where you stayed silent just to keep the peace. And this isn't about blame, but it's about awareness because you didn't fail, you learned. And that's the journey. That's the blessing. Because every heartbreak carries an abundance of information that prepares you for a healthier love. And I know some of you are asking, all right, Bobby, okay, so how do we bounce back, right? Well, first, you allow yourself to grieve. Give yourself permission to grieve. You're allowed to miss them. You're allowed to be sad. You're allowed to be hurt. Why? Because unprocessed pain doesn't just disappear. It shows up later in a multitude of ways: anger, numbness, or emotional walls that I call baggage. Second, you want to detach your worth from the outcome. Someone choosing differently does not make you less valuable because that's one person's opinion, one person's perspective, one person's perspective or preference. Your worth is intrinsic. It doesn't fluctuate based on who stays or who leaves. who missed out on the experience of you. 3, reconnect with yourself. Take that time, date yourself, love yourself. Ask yourself, who was I before this? What parts of me did I dim? And what did I stop doing to maintain the relationship? Because it always takes two. It always takes two. Because this is the season of coming home to yourself. And I want you to embrace it. At some point you stop being you. You lost pieces, and again, those will be found on your journey. Number 4, I want you to strengthen your boundaries, because boundaries are not walls, they are clarity. They're put in place to protect the person that's placing the boundary. They teach people how to love you, how to treat you, and protect you from self-abandonment. Number 5, use the pain as fuel. You see, pain can harden you, sharpen you, carve you into the masterpiece that you seek, and it can refine you. I want you to use it, or I encourage you to use it to raise your standards, build emotional intelligence, and choose intentionally next time, the next relationship. You'll be healthier, you'll be ready, you'll be aligned. You know, rejection isn't always a loss. Sometimes it is protection, because not every closed door is meant to punish you. Some closed doors actually close because it allows you to keep your peace, because if you would have stayed, it would have cost you your peace. Because what didn't work out made room for growth, clarity, and self-alignment. I'm going to keep saying it. I want to beat that home, because you can't bounce back going backwards. You actually bounce back by becoming wiser, stronger, and more grounded than ever before. That's the homage that you pay to the past version of yourself. What did we learn? How did we grow? And so if you're healing right now, I want you to hear this clearly. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are becoming a newer version of yourself. Because heartbreak didn't end you. It shaped you. Rejection didn't define you. It just redirected you. It's a new path. It's a new way. Because when you love again, and you will love again, you'll love from strength and not fear. Fear has no place in the growth mindset or in love. I want to thank you all for listening to another episode of Reps and Reflection. And if you are ready to do work, I want you to reach out for a free consultation. Until next time, I want you to keep doing those reps. And I want you to keep reflecting on your lives, because that's just the way we live healthier. You know, it's beautiful when you're able to look at yourself and just be happy. So please share, like, comment, and subscribe, because someone needs to hear this. And you may not even know who they are. You may not even know that they need support. But you can be that beacon. You can push that button to send it out. So maybe someone can get the support that they need. And if it's not from me, I'll help with resources to find you your person, to find you your community, to find you your tribe, to find your alignment. As always, thank you all. The blind man doesn't need eyes to see, but he finds his way. And I know you struggle, I struggle, we struggle, but fear doesn't have to live here. Because if you rise, and I mean really rise, the return on the investment that you put into yourself will be greater than any other on your journey. But it must be done through reps. It must be done with reflection.
Reflection, reps,